Okay, should be live. What's up? Um, yeah, so this is stream 19 of Levi Maynard Synergy, and we're going to start mixing, so that's exciting. I would say the hard part is behind me, but I'm not actually sure that that's true. Uh, yeah, anyway, by the end of it, I think I'll get something that will be not completely terrible, but that's usually my standard for my own mixes. I don't. That's not mixing is not my strong suit, but I like having more opportunities to do it. It's more practice, and hopefully one of these days I will actually be able to produce a mix that I think is just really good. So, but that's it. Yeah, not gonna happen unless I do it. Anyway, so yeah, I really aside from some editing, which I guess would technically be the next step, although maybe it shows how inexperienced I am. But I tend to edit and mix kind of in the same phase. But I've done some editing, so that was kind of its own step. And I've talked about that in previous streams, but yeah. Well, I guess I showed some of it. So anyway, there were a few issues with the drum parts, kind of got that sorted out. There may be a little bit of editing left to do. Excuse me. The second half of the song, I haven't totally decided. Well, I didn't go through with a fine tooth comb on the drum part there, so I can't remember if it's entirely one. Yeah, it looks like it's just one take at the end. Maybe I did some. I did an edit. I don't even know what that was, but anyway, so there might be some areas where I would need to go and just take care of a couple of minor things. But yeah, so that's I don't know. That's kind of how I work. Like if there's obvious things to edit, I do that, and then kind of get started on mixing because I don't know. I'm impatient. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Generally speaking, I like to start with drums first, and yeah, not for any reason. It's just kind of what I've done. Drums and then guitar, and then usually bass and then vocal. But there's no vocal in this song, so that's convenient. But lots and lots of lead guitar, and then of course there's a good number of layers of synth. There's also some interesting things here where like this part. That needs to have a delay on it to match what the part actually was on the original recording of the song. So you have to find a good delay and one that is synced to the tempo. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any other like really obvious production challenges. A lot of what made the original production cool was the arrangement. Yeah, at least to my memory, there's not like, well, I don't. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of effects and stuff, but the thing that makes it really cool is the arrangement. So I don't think it relies on a lot of sound effects or like build sound effects or something. There's like synths that just kind of rise up and are really subtle. You're not really supposed to hear them. They just kind of make you feel something. So I could be wrong though, because you're not really supposed to hear them, and maybe I didn't. So anyway, if Lonnie happens to get on here, he can correct me on whatever I'm saying. But yeah, okay. So enough talking. Let's take a look at the drums. I've already got these assigned to their own bus. But yeah, aside from panning, I don't consider these really like mixed in any way. Actually, that's so weird. I don't know what happened here. I must have accidentally moved these tracks, because I like to have my overheads next to each other, and for some reason they were separate. So don't know what that was about. Yeah, and I guess the way that I have OBS set up, you cannot see. I should have done that differently, I guess. Well, this is probably going to be more than one stream of this, so I'll try to fix it next time to where you can see the dialogues that pop up, like on the effects that I'm going to add. But in the meantime, I'll try to talk through what I'm doing as much as possible. I have some effects on these tracks already, but you can see the fader settings are maybe a bit ridiculous, or I don't know, maybe not. But I do have some effects. Actually, yeah, you can see this one over here. I've got an EQ on the kick drum. So yeah, like that. Currently sounds like this. Which I don't hate. I think maybe it has a bit, maybe a bit much on the low end, but whatever. So let's just listen to the drums. I don't know what I'm doing here. Also, the great lesson that I took into mixing the last song, I'm like already not applying that. But my intent here, to make things easier on myself so I don't get like too in the weeds and then screw something up, is to like pull back as much as possible. And this is like, good advice that you hear from people who actually do this professionally and stuff, but you don't want to, you don't mix in isolation, right? So like mix in the context of listening to the whole song, because that's what people actually hear. They don't, you can make your drum bus sound incredible, or you can make your kick drum sound incredible on its own. But if it doesn't work in the mix, or like if the mix for even other reasons just sounds bad, then you've really accomplished nothing. So yeah, so that's what I want to focus on, is doing it that way. The only caveat is that the last song that I mixed, I kind of there's decisions that I made that I already regret, but at the time, and what I was going for was like a kind of older sound. So I also didn't want to edit it too heavily, but with this song being a much more like modern kind of sound, I don't feel bad about sculpting things a bit more, but also there's a part of me that wants to keep it a little bit natural, well, or unaffected, I guess, or less affected, just to give it some differentiation from the original track, but kind of leave my own personal mark on it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to start out with the initial focus anyway, of really just zooming out and trying to make things, trying to deal with what people are actually going to hear when they listen to the song, since no one else is going to be listening to it instrument by instrument. But yeah, but at the moment I do want to hear the drums just by themselves. Yeah. So there are some obvious problems here, but I've got some clipping going on from just having the meters too high and that sort of thing. And this has been one of those things where I've been adjusting the levels to basically make it like as I've been recording tracks, so that I, while I'm recording a particular part, I want more of one of the tracks, just so it's easier for me to play what I'm playing. That's kind of how I've done things. So like all the levels are just kind of all over the place, and yeah, you can see it. The kick was like really overblown, and the snare was too. But yeah, but I was going through and checking the tracks. It looks like the only tracks that I have any effects on at all are the kick and snare, and I've just got some EQ on those. And I actually really like the way the snare sounds, at least for what my drum kit is capable of, and for compared to some previous recordings. But I tend to like I don't know, I tend to like mixes that aren't really full of like a bunch of harsh highs and stuff. So that's actually one thing that I'm going to have to kind of work against my gut impulse, I think, a little bit on this song. I feel like this song needs to have maybe maybe a little bit more boosted highs, like kind of everywhere, just to make it bite a little more. But my natural tendency is to have a really mid-focused kind of mix, which maybe that's why they generally don't come out sounding very good. Everybody likes the smile EQ curve, but anyway, so that's my natural tendency, and so I've got this snare that's kind of not very, I guess, aggressive sounding in the top end, but and also clipping that. But anyway, so there's some obvious problems, but yeah, even with just the EQ that I have, I think it's a good starting place. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna listen to the whole song and try to figure out where some of these levels should be. So I'm gonna probably start out by just like backing everything off, and maybe I'll actually even mute all of the lead tracks so I don't have to deal with those. So I had to listen to that in headphones a little bit because I feel like I'm just being assaulted by low end at the moment. So I do need to clean up that kick drum. I have kind of come to regret the choice of monitors that I ended up buying however many years ago now. I got the M-Audio BX8s, and I bought them because they have an 8-inch woofer, and I was like, oh yeah, great, more low-end response. But it's almost a bit overpowering, and not in a way that's like, oh yes, I hear the details in this so that I better know how to use it. It's more like all low end all the time. So I don't know. I probably should have bought just like whatever whatever that 5-inch monitor is that's like super popular. Anyway, someday I'd like to get a pair of NS10s because I hear they sound atrocious. Supposedly, if you, I mean, the reason that people love them so much is like if you can get anything to sound good on those, then it's gonna sound great on anything else because they just sound terrible. So I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I've always wanted to hear them myself just for that reason. Anyway, yeah, for the moment, working with what I got. So I've got a lot of low end in the room with me coming out of the speakers. So I'll probably be referencing the headphones quite a bit here. But yeah, so backed off the guitars a lot so that I could get away with still being able to hear the kick and snare, but pulling them back. So yeah, I think I'm gonna continue working with levels, just with the drums and rhythm guitar primarily, and if I get that into a point that that I like, then I'm gonna move back to the EQ on that kick and try to get rid of a little of that excess low end. Maybe add a little more high end. It could use even more attack, really. I might put a gate on those. I'm not sure. Sometimes gates really annoy me because like you can really hear them, and I don't like that. But also, the sound that is coming out in between the tom hits is not very nice. I've probably got all of the hi-hat that I need from everywhere else. Without having to get it from the tom mics. So again, apologies that you can't see the dialogues that pop up, because I'm looking at the plugin settings right now. So yeah, basically what I did when I just quickly threw on an EQ before I even tracked the drums was did a low roll off that. But then also a boost. So there's a boost like right around, I don't know, 75 or something like that hertz, and then it tapers off like not terribly steep, but like pretty steep toward the bottom end of the frequency, lower than that. So I'm feeling like that bump is just too aggressive. And then I also actually pretty significantly already did a boost on the top end. And this is a song where just stylistically it would have been great to have had a mic on the beater side of the kick drum, which actually I guess I could have done, but I didn't. So we've got, kind of a thuddy sort of kick drum for a modern metal song. So I don't know. It's going to be what it is, I guess. But yeah, I'll probably see if I can boost that up a little bit more, and maybe just cutting this this low boost will allow me to be able to like pump the volume a little more, and we can get more of that attack sound without just having to slam the high end on the EQ. So anyway, I think what I'm going to do at first is like really just essentially get rid of this low end bump entirely, or almost entirely, something like that, and listen to that. The unfortunate thing for me as a drummer is that if I make the kick drum very audible and apparent what I'm doing, then all of my sloppiness will shine through. But that's just some more unique character to this interpretation of the song. But yeah, it's definitely sounding a lot more full of attack. Sorry, this mic clip is driving me crazy. Kept wanting to slide on me. Anyway, yeah, where was I? Okay, so I've got the kick sounding better. I'm going to listen to that without headphones again. Yeah, cool. So I think next I'm going to try to get something happening with this snare. So like I said earlier, I do like the sound of the snare, just kind of for my personal preferences. And if I was only listening to the drums, I would like it to be something like that. I like that kind of mid-rangey, more mellow sort of sound. Not that I don't like highs at all, but yeah, that's just kind of where my ears want to go, because I don't know, I'm just overly sensitive to high frequencies, I guess. But especially after hearing the kick and how it suddenly cuts through the mix really well, I think the obvious next step is to make the snare a little more in line with that style, because it sounds a little bit odd, actually. Excuse me. After doing that to the kick. So I'm gonna try this with the snare, and I'll just let this play. definitely need some compression here because we're slamming the levels even after I grab the fader. Yeah. So again, I know you can't see this on the stream, unfortunately, but I was changing the EQ while that was playing, and I did boost the high end, and then I felt like I was actually hearing a little too much of the hi-hat in the snare mic. So I did a low pass, like way up on the high frequencies, and then kind of rolled that into where I could start to hear a little bit less of the hi-hat. But anyway, trying to keep as much of the top end on the snare as possible. And then I had previously had kind of a my EQ curve for the snare actually looked very similar to my EQ curve for the kick drum, except it shifted so that what was the low bump in the kick drum was like in the really well, it was around like 75, like I said, and then for the snare drum that was brought up to like 150 or something like that. So but I had kind of a bump around the lower nice sounding frequencies of the instrument, and then I had the highs boosted somewhat, and a little bit of the mids cut. And so the other thing that I did was actually bring in some more mids. So basically right around 300 hertz. Brought that in some, and there's still kind of a scoop from roughly 300 to 1K, but it's not. It's a very slight scoop. So anyway, and I felt like bringing in those mid frequencies, like I boosted the highest first, and it felt just like really harsh and kind of tinny, and then adding those frequencies really kind of rounded it out more. So anyway, definitely liking where it's going in terms of like the snare cutting through for sure. Definitely cuts through, but of course I've also got level issues still going on. So yeah, compression will be the next step for the snare, but I'm going to listen to it some more to see if I for sure like what I've got going on. And of course, I mean, if this were like, if this were a modern band, there'd be like samples and that sort of thing. And I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I don't know. I tend to be more of a purist. It's like I want the drum sound to be the drums I recorded. And the sounds that I got in recording it were, I don't know. I feel like they're usable. So like it's not going to be like 10 layers of snare sound with the really fat, like basically there's no difference between the kick and the snare. They both like hit you in the chest just as hard. So this mix is not going to be that. And so in that sense, it's definitely going to be kind of an older style mix, just from my personal preference that way. But for what it is, like the snare is definitely cutting through. So I like that. I think I'm going to leave it alone until until I look at the other instruments, but I leave it alone in terms of the EQ. But I think I'm going to add some compression to that. And the kick. So actually I'll probably start there. And I don't want to blow it out either. I just kind of want to make it a little more consistent rather than like, that's generally my approach with compression. Except on vocals. Like I kind of like to hear it on vocals. But for a lot of other things, especially drums, just personal preference, I use it less as a like audio sound effect and more as less to sound like something and more to get rid of the imperfections of the playing or whatever. Anyway, Yeah, okay. So, throw some compression on this. Oops. Hey, how's it going? So, I mean, that sounds better to me. For those of you who are just joining, unfortunately, the way that I have OBS set up, none of the dialogues from Ardor are going to be visible, so you can't actually see the settings that I am tweaking. So I'm trying to talk through them as much as possible, but sorry for that. Anyway, yeah, so I definitely like where that's going. I'm going to leave that for now. If it's working, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, yeah, going to do some similar compression to the snare drum. So it's basically like, you know, all the things that people say to do is kind of how I do things, because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so like a short attack on things where, like, you know, with the drums, the transient is like really the focus, and so want to grab that with the compressor. So anyway, but I don't have a very long release time, and then yeah, just, you know, like I said earlier, I like to use compression to just kind of make things all a bit normalized. So yeah, I've got it basically like where it's, you know, every hit is engaging the compressor somewhat, but it's not like I'm not really pumping it or anything like that. That's sounding a little better to me now. When I first started adjusting it, I was doing, well, what was I doing? Yeah, ultimately I decided that my initial adjustment, I had the threshold too low and was compensating too much with the makeup gain, and so then I was getting like this. I don't know how to describe it, but this like kind of. I don't know. All the words that I'm thinking of are the typical like magic words that musicians use for things like crunchy or grungy or something. But those don't mean anything. But I was getting this sort of like overly compressed sound that I didn't like, and so anyway, basically what I did was I just went harder on the ratio, but I brought the threshold up, and so yeah, because there's some hits in there that are definitely like wildly inconsistent, and so I've got just my playing. I was like hitting some really hard and some softer, and it really shows. So like that's the main thing I'm trying to fix with the compression, and yeah, so sounded a little better after I kind of redid what I had done initially. I'm a huge fan of 80s music, so I like loads of reverb on snares. So at some point, there will probably be some reverb on the snare. In fact, there will 100% be reverb on the snare because it needs to be really massive in this section of the song here. Yeah, especially that hit at the end of the build. I want that hit to just sound huge. So we'll see. Might do some studio magic stuff. Like maybe I'll double the track or something. Or like if I were to put in a snare sample, that would be the place. But I really don't want to do that. So even if it's just reverb and it's underwhelming, I don't know. We'll see. I won't rule anything out yet. But if I were to use a snare sample, it would be there. Okay, so yeah, I think well, I'm gonna mute all the tom mics and listen to the drums, and then I'll unmute them and kind of see how much I think that the open mics are actually really audible, because a lot of times it's like not really that audible, but it just sometimes the information in the track is when the instrument isn't, like when the tom isn't being played, isn't quite as bad. But like these do not sound good to me, and so I'm considering adding a noise gate to them. As I mentioned earlier, noise gates aren't always my favorite thing. Trying to noise gate toms, for one, it's frustrating because then you get a lot of things that falsely get past the noise gate, and so that's annoying. And then I don't know, things like just poke out, and you can really like, I don't know, I've done some really amateurish things where I just like go super deep in the weeds, and then things get out of control, and I've got this like hacked together, so it just doesn't even sound like an instrument anymore. It doesn't sound like the drums. It sounds it doesn't even sound like programmed drums. It just kind of sounds bad. So I don't want to do that. Anyway, but yeah, so like this is what I've got currently in the tom mics. Just a lot of hi-hat everywhere. And the hi-hat that I used on my drum kit when I recorded these drums was the quietest hi-hat that I have. So could have been a lot worse. Sadly, that hi-hat is actually chipped and cracked, and probably will not probably won't survive much longer. But the hi-hats that I have that are like the nicest ones that I've got are very loud, and that can be kind of annoying. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I don't really like the sounds that I'm getting out of the tom mics. So yep, going to do this, mute all of them, listen to it for a while, and I'll add them in, see if it's even noticeable. If it's not really noticeable, then I'm probably not going to worry about doing a noise gate. But if it is, then I guess I'll do it. Well, I'm kind of in a catch-22 here because to my ears, when they're muted, the drums do sound cleaner, and it's a sound that I would say I feel like is more modern. And since, this song originally has kind of a modern production, that seems to make sense. Feels like that's the direction that I should go. The problem is, when I had them muted, I was like, wow, this snare sounds terrible. After I just got it to the point where I liked it. And so I don't like the fact that my perception of the snare changes that much based on basically nonsense information in these tracks, especially since I haven't done any EQ to them at all. And, I guess I could leave them dry. The toms don't sound terrible, but, unequalized, whatever. Anyway, but I don't know. Generally, I add EQ to everything because that's what you're supposed to do, right? But yeah, so I don't know. Not thrilled that I don't like the snare sound when I mute the toms. I'm gonna listen to it in headphones again. Yeah, give it another chance to change my mind, I guess. And here I am mixing in isolation again. So easy. So easy to do that. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't, I don't know. I guess I didn't think about it too much beforehand, or it's just like, there is a decent amount of just like really boxy thwack when the snare is heard in the tom mics. And so I think the fact that the snare sounded like that was like compensating or like disguising the fact that in the actual snare track after the EQ adjustments that I did, and then especially after adding in the compressor, got really like pingy. So you could probably hear that like dong, dong. And that was very annoying to me, even like in the full mix, which is why I'm here in isolation now. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm about to listen to it again. I don't know if I really made it better necessarily. I mean, a little ringiness is okay in the snare, but yeah, just for my preference, I like it to be a little less of a note specifically. Yeah, to my ears, that sounds way better. Basically, what I did was earlier when I was talking about the changes that I made, where I had around 150 originally. I had a kind of a boost. I had backed off that some, and then I had brought up where I had cut a lot of the mids out. I brought that up around 300, but turns out that pinginess is right around 200, and so the boost that I did at 3 also brought with it that. So basically, I just added another parameter on my EQ, and I brought down the a pretty narrow band right around 200 hertz, and kind of controlled that pinginess. To me, sounds much better. Oh, but also I have the tom mics on, so let's hear it without that. It looks like I'm still clipping on the snare. Might have to add just a very not aggressive limiter or something after this EQ, or excuse me, after the compressor. But to me, that it sounds better even after getting rid of the tom mics. So I could live with that sound if I were to add a noise gate on those. Listen to it back here with them on. And turn them off. Oh, I muted. Whoops, that was not supposed to happen. I muted the snare mic. Okay, well, I think I'll go ahead and do it. Seems like it makes sense in this context, so I'll find a, I guess you can't see this, no, not a limiter. What am I saying? I've forgotten the word. What was I just talking about? Noise gate, that's what it's called. Actually, well, this is going to be kind of interesting for me, and again, it's very unfortunate that you can't see what I'm actually doing here. So I'll figure that out one way or another for next stream. I don't know if it's possible to just in a setting have OBS grab the dialogues as well, or if I'll have to, instead of sharing the actual program output, if I have to like share the monitor or something. I don't know, but one way or another I'll figure it out so that you can actually see these dialogues, because I'm definitely not going to finish this stream tonight. Long way from the end. I wanted to work fast, but I kind of got tripped up in my own. Anyway, yeah, but because I'm a Linux user, like I'm using probably different plugins than what a lot of people would use. And one of my favorite plugin sets were the CAF plugins, but unfortunately, there was an update with the GUI toolkit that they were using, or the GUI toolkit that they're using is deprecated, I think, and is no longer being included in. I think it was deprecated from like Ubuntu, and I'm running Pop! OS, which is a derivative of Ubuntu. So anyway, long story short, the actual UI for the CAF plugins does not work. You can still use the plugin, and Ardor provides a really like basic interface for controlling it, but some you kind of have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. But like depending on what the UI of the plugin was and what it was doing, like how you were meant to use it, it's nearly unusable in a generic state where it's just like, okay, because what Ardor does is it's just like, oh, here are all the parameters that get adjusted by this plugin, and then it just exposes all of the controls for those individual things. But some of those things are like in the normal UI experience, they're like hidden from you. They're like affected by like a single knob, or I don't know. I'm kind of generalizing here, but yeah. But the point is, I can't really use those, and the CAF gate plugin was the one that I used most of the time. So I'm going to use the LSP. Which is a fantastic plugin pack, and that's sadly can't show it on screen, but that's the EQ that I've been using on all these tracks, and yeah, fantastic plugin set, which I don't know if it's available for Windows or not, but but for Linux it's like you gotta have it, because there's basically everything that you need in it for one, and it's all very high quality stuff. So long story short, I'm getting ready to use a gate that I have not used before, so I don't really even know what I'm looking at the moment. Oh, we're off to a good start. I changed literally nothing after loading the plugin, and I was able to hear that first tom hit, and yeah, this may be a bit quick on the release. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little better. So we're kind of, let's see. Threshold. Yep. Yeah, that is not bad. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, yeah, cool. Okay, we'll use that as a starting place. Some clipping there, unfortunately, so whoops. Can't fix that now. Wait, what did I do? Oh, I put that on the wrong track, that's what I did. Yep. Yes. Have to adjust it here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. What am I doing? I've got that on the ride. Wow. Well, that's embarrassing. Okay. Okay, now it's sounding like it's got a gate on it. I guess I didn't use the heights on very much. Yeah. And again, release is maybe not quite long enough for my taste. Yeah, that's better. Okay, here, all of these. It's a weird sounding fill. I mean, I guess it was just sloppy sticking, but yeah. Okay, that is not bad. So, with those in place, and, well, actually, I wish that by default, when you added a new plugin in Ardor, the plugin was first in the chain, but the fader by default is first in the chain. So you got to move it. But anyway, yeah, just make sure that that didn't screw something up by switching the order of the fader and the plugin. I think we're good. Oh, I only did it. I meant to do that to all of them. Whoops. Oh, well, I guess it wouldn't even matter because, well, okay, yeah, I guess the faders weren't quite at unity, but they were real close, so wouldn't really make any kind of a difference. Anyway, yeah, so let's listen to the drums with those gates in place. That is not where I meant to start. Let's see. Well, I've been going for an hour. I'm going to do something that is maybe a little bit dangerous to do in the middle of a stream because it might jack up my audio. But since I'm on the mixing phase and I don't need super low latency, I can change my latency and hopefully fix some of the issues where the audio is dropping out. So we'll see if I still have audio after I do this, but oh. Fun. Looks like my mic is still being picked up by OBS though, so that's cool. All right, 1 second. Ardor just crashed. And okay, back up. I am seeing a message on YouTube, something about apparently my stream quality is bad, so sorry if it's not working for you guys. Looks like I haven't dropped it totally though, so I don't know. Nothing I can really do about that. But yes, much clearer audio after changing that. Sorry for the brief intermission while the change causing that crash. Anyway, yeah, so I'm definitely liking where things are heading. Need to do something about the overheads. Not really sure what I want to do there. They are, yeah, nothing's on them. No effects or anything. It's just brought the levels down. And I am a little afraid that one of my crashes is just going to be a little too, like, pokey or whatever. It's just, like, going to stick out no matter what I do. So, I don't know. I don't want to, well, I don't know. I guess there's nothing I can do about it now. But one of my crashes is, like, way louder than the other one. Or way more spiky sounding. Anyway. Yeah. But definitely liking where this is heading. I'm going to listen to this with just the headphones. I'm going to turn off the monitors for a second because I still feel just like totally overwhelmed with low end. So I think I've got a lot coming from the guitars. But it's just, I don't know, it's messing with my head. So there are some things that I don't like about this snare sound, which the funny thing is, like, it's in this section, there's several, the hits are kind of inconsistent because I'm not a good enough drummer to hit the drum in the same spot every time, but there's some hits in here, like most of these first few measures, the hits sound, they sound like an In Flames album, the one with the speaker on it. I can't think of what that's called. Anyway, hey Diego, how's it going? So if anybody out there knows, I can't think of it offhand. The In Flames album with the not, I was going to say Sound of a Playground Fading, but that's not it. The In Flames album with the speaker on the cover. There's a song on there that has this like kind of pingy snare sound that, like, sounds like you're hitting a trash can or something, but like in a really good way. This reminds me of that if that sounded bad. So that's not super encouraging. But overall, I don't hate the drums where they're at now. And I think they definitely have, just in the work that I've done on them so far, they're starting to shape into that more like modern metal kind of sound. So that's cool. Yeah. So I've mostly just been listening to this beginning part. Let's check out some other places. Yeah, for the most part, I like that. The drums sound clear enough that I can focus on all the parts of the performance that I dislike. There's a couple of these snare hits in here that were just like I flam so bad. Yeah, that one is terrible, and that's terrible. That one's even worse. That's just, man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to fix that. But yeah, I don't really want to get stuck down that rabbit hole down at the moment. Cool. Yeah. So, not to get too distracted here, go through the overheads. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with these. So I am going to throw some EQ on there, but primarily just to get rid of useless information in the low end. But that's the only thing that I really know that I want to do, and this is kind of a consistent problem for me when I am mixing drums. I used to kind of just do a lot of really aggressive, really aggressive high pass. So I would get rid of basically everything, even in the mid range, and try to only get the cymbal sounds. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that can work, but it also you kind of lose the cohesion of the overall drum sound. So I do like leaving in a lot of the other frequencies, so that they're not just there for the cymbals. You kind of get a picture of what the drum kit sounded like in the room. I like that, but I don't really know what to do with it because it's other instruments, it's like, okay, this instrument really is primarily in this frequency range. So you can kind of picture where the bass guitar is going to primarily need to be, and even if you need to step outside of that, you want to make the bass guitar really cut through. So it's like, okay, well it excels in the high end here, and so it's like even though you're primarily dealing with this frequency range for the low end because it's a low end instrument, then where you need to go for the high end. Same thing with guitar. It's it's a little more mid range or whatever. And then maybe there's some things that you want to do in the upper range, and you probably know where that's at. And all of the individual drums, you can kind of section them off into a specific part of the frequency range. But when it comes to the overheads, it's picking up all of the instruments that have that are each, the kick drum has its frequency range, snare has its frequency range, and then when you're getting them all together, it's like, well, what do you prioritize? So I don't really know what to do, and kind of in absence of knowing what to do, I generally don't do anything with it. I just I roll off the lows that I don't want, cluttering up, in a car speakers or something like that. Just getting rid of low end that doesn't have any meaningful information, and then I kind of leave it alone. And if I do anything else, maybe I boost the high end to just make the cymbals shimmer. My cymbals are maybe not so good to sound like they shimmer, but yeah, I don't know, just kind of the cymbals are, of course, the focus of the overheads because they're the only mics that are being used for them, premarily. But yeah, I don't know. It's still I guess I haven't looked up enough tutorials on overhead mixing. That'll have to be something I add to the to-do list here. Anyway, but I am going to pull up a EQ and get rid of the low end, and then I'll probably try boosting the high end and see how that sounds. But I feel like it's not going to sound good. But yeah, well, okay, whatever. I'm going to do something, and then I'll talk. So here we go. Okay, this time I actually copied the plugin to the right track. It's the small things. All right. Yeah, so I think some new people have joined the stream, so once again, I'm going to apologize for this, but you can't see the dialogues that Ardor is producing because of how I have things set up currently in OBS, since the mixing is definitely going to take more than one stream. I will try to have that... yeah, I'll have some solution for that by next week so that you can actually see the dialogues and watch me making the changes and all of that. But yeah, you can see the plugin name on the channel strip on the left side of the screen. So it's the LSP parametric EQ. And yeah, this is the one that's been kind of my go-to ever since the Linux issue that I mentioned happened. It's a long process. Yeah, well, it wouldn't have to be. If I knew what I was doing, it wouldn't have to be. But for me, it kind of is. So we'll get through it. The last song that I did when I did the cover of "Screaming Silver Wings," I kind of went into it like, okay, I'm just gonna go through this, and I'm gonna do it really fast and not give myself time to make mistakes. And I think that was a really good approach. And I probably should have done that a little more with this because I might be a little further along and not like anyway. But I just didn't want to get sucked into going down the weeds, going too much into the weeds too quick. But I think I didn't go into the weeds enough because like listening to it back, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, there's definitely things that I basically glossed over and like could have made sound much better if I had just given a little more time. But I was like afraid of making something that sounded like listenable into something that sounded really just amateurish, overproduced. So in order to avoid that, that's what I did. And I don't know, the whole thing's a learning process. So yeah, let's try this. I'm gonna do a really aggressive high pass just to see. So it's gonna be, yeah, we're basically starting the downward trend at like 2K. So we're like not even getting any of the mids or anything. Like it's like absurd. Oh yeah, so you can kind of see what I'm doing on the channel strip on the left. Let's see. It's a good thing to take time to do it right. Yeah, for sure. So many details indeed. Yeah, and it's my biggest problem is me. So the more experience that I get, the better my mixes become. But you also kind of have to. I don't know. There is some amount of balance, and I'm just not experienced enough to know where that line of balance is. So in the past, I've kind of driven myself mad with going too much into the details, and so it's like, okay, I've got to try this from the other angle, and then you try it both ways, and it gradually work your way toward the center wherever the balance is. But also just hopefully you get better at doing things by doing them. So yeah, let me do the same thing to the other side. And I'm almost certainly not going to keep this. I just want to try this. Because this is kind of how I used to mix drums, and then I was like, oh, it's a bit amateurish, but I don't know. There's some sense behind it, I guess. Not a pro myself. I try to do my best. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's all we can do, I guess. So yeah, and if you like the end result, then that's something at least. And yeah, it's like. You'd have to make a mix pretty bad for somebody to just say it's unlistenable. I mean, so even if you totally fail, it's like, well, at least you made a song. Like, that's cool. I feel like I shouldn't say this, but I kind of like that. Soundtrack to Your Escape. That's the name of the In Flames album. It just came to me. Okay. All right. I think I have a better handle on this now. There are definitely some things that I like about that, but I think mostly what I like about that is that it brought the level down a little more. I think I just had too much overheads overall. So I'm actually going to make this high pass less aggressive and see if... yeah, so I'll move it to 100. And again, it was at 2K, so there's a massive switch. But yeah, going to do that, and then maybe adjust the faders a little bit before I make another EQ change after that. See if that kind of fixes, if I get what I initially liked about hearing that, if that accomplishes it, then great. And yeah, then maybe there'll be some freedom to make some other changes and get something out of it. Those toms are the toms feel really loud now. Lots of changes have happened. Also, I like to pan the toms. Okay, so I've got ride on the left, like we're facing the drums, so then this one will be a little bit over here, be a little bit over there, and the low tom, like here. Also come down some. Just Yeah, so oddly enough, I think cleaning up the overheads actually made me hear some things that I feel like could be fixed with EQs. I feel like I'm actually getting maybe a better picture of what to do with them. Also, the one cymbal that I mentioned earlier that's like really pokey, just it kind of has some harsh frequencies. Like it's a cool sound. I don't know. Well, I don't know. That's probably someday I want to make a video on that. So I bought this cymbal set that is stainless steel, and normally when you get stainless steel cymbals, it's because they're practice cymbals and they've got like a million holes drilled in them to make them quiet. And they're stainless steel because it's cheap and it's like super durable. You can just bang on them and they're not going to break. But I found this company that made a set that, like, they're still like practice cymbals, I guess, technically speaking. But I just really wanted to know what they sounded like. And it was a whole set of them for like $115, $120, something like that. So I got 2 crash cymbals, hi-hat, and a ride. And there's an 18-inch crash, so that's what you're hearing that would be coming out of the left speaker. So the leftmost crash is that stainless steel cymbal. And it pokes out a bit on recording, but like for sure in the room it sounds cool. It sounds nicer in a lot of ways than the other cymbal that I have for that stand, which is just it's a cheap like bronze or whatever, Peisty or something, just like a really cheap cymbal. And it's not the worst for being a bronze cymbal, but it doesn't have quite the same life that the stainless steel one has. But the stainless steel one is also not, it's not brass. The one that I've got on the rightmost speaker is a brass cymbal, and so it sounds just way more pleasant. But the biggest problem with that particular setup is just that the stainless steel one is so much louder than the brass one, and so I don't know. Anyway, maybe messing with the EQ, we can kind of get rid of like some of the harsher frequencies there and kind of tame that. And I don't know. I know a lot of people, like, obviously everybody's got a different approach to everything, but a lot of people do like to use compression, and I've heard some very aggressive compression on overheads, even on like records mixed by competent people. I've heard some that have some pretty aggressive compression, but that is not really my preference. I like to leave them as bare as I can possibly get away with. Sometimes I have added compression when it's just like there's like one really bad place that's just so bad you notice it every time the song gets to it, or if it's just like really consistently inconsistent, there's like too much pokiness throughout, that may be another solution for this issue that I'm talking about with the cymbal. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like I'm starting to hear some areas where some additional EQ in the upper frequencies on the hi-hats or on the overheads would sound nice. Sorry. man. Yeah, now that the drums are so much clearer, like this whole section, it's like, I should have redone that. I could have done that better. But also, there's only so much time. And no matter how much I think that I'm a better drummer than what I'm listening to, the truth is, I am the drummer I'm listening to. Yeah, I think I'm actually pretty happy with where things are sitting at the moment. So that is a good feeling. Yeah, and I think I'm starting to get some ideas of where to go with everything else. I haven't really been thinking about the bass. Obviously it's I've got the bass like turned down here a lot, but I've been thinking about the EQ of the guitars as I've been listening to that, and yeah. So let's see, how long have I been going? Should probably bring this to an end pretty soon. Definitely not going to do the bass because I don't have any ideas in mind, but I think I could do the rhythm guitars, and then just for kicks we can add in the leads and kind of listen to it, see where it's at. Maybe do some initial levels on the leads, although that'll undoubtedly change with EQ adjustments. But yeah. Anyway, do those couple of things, and then that'll be probably it for tonight. And then next week, really hit the guitar parts, and yeah, guitar parts and bass. And I guess if that goes really well, then finish out the rest of the song with the synth and all that. Because yeah, that's what there is. So cool. But yeah, feeling good about the drums at this particular moment. So let's throw up an EQ on here. So yeah, the main thing that I want to do, the ideas that I had, well, the first thing that I do is high pass, like literally everything. I always make a roll off in the areas that aren't really going to be used, like aren't really usable. There's no like actually good information there in the instrument, and so I've got a roll off happening. Actually, let's bring this up. So. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically speaking, where I've set this just barely begins at around 100 hertz, which there's still plenty of like guitar information and like low chords and stuff there, but yeah, then I've got a pretty significant roll off by the time it gets past 20 hertz, because that there's not going to be anything there. It's just going to be like garbage. So I like to clean that up. But yeah, and then as I was listening to it with the drums, that I brightened up a lot, which, like I said, is kind of against my my natural tendency, though I am really liking where they're sitting. Then the guitar parts, which previously had sounded like they were bright enough, now all of a sudden they're sounding kind of dull. So I do think that we need to add at least a small amount of high boost. So I'm going to do that. Oops, that is not the right thing. That's what I want. And yeah, so we'll just do like a very kind of uniform. So that's about a 6 dB boost beginning, basically at 2K. And 3K for guitar is usually like kind of the devil, so might make some cuts there, but yeah. So let's start with that. I'm gonna copy that one over to the second guitar. I'm gonna move the fader down there. Let's see where that gets us. Yep, I'm definitely liking that. Sounds good already. Thanks, man. Yeah, I agree. Definitely liking it, and I'm not really hearing any. I'm not hearing any obvious like problem frequencies in that. So yeah, don't feel like I need to make any cuts or micro adjustments or anything at the moment. So cool. Yeah, let me listen to that. Oh, I should probably copy that one onto this because everything else about this track is the same. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna unmute these and kind of listen through to some of these parts and just kind of play with the faders a little bit. We'll see what we end up with. Maybe I can kind of hear where some of these things need to go. I feel like actually getting the drums out of the way and the with the rhythm guitars being like, not that bad to get where, at least for now, where I want them. We'll see what happens when when I start working with the bass, because I want to do a few things to the bass because I want a kind of aggressive bass sound. So I'm probably going to double the track and put a really aggressive high pass on part of it and like really distort that, and then secondary track, like kind of a common thing, I guess, but make one track essentially for the lows that's kind of clean, and then one that's like really aggressively distorted, so that there's this kind of even blend between the bass guitar and the rhythm guitar. See, starting simple, adding more effects at the end if needed. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to get bogged down. What is this? Oh, that's the other take. This. Yeah, that's the good one. Okay, we don't need that. What's? Oh, that's okay. Okay, that's why that track is down there. All right. Yeah. What is this? stellar cubic beam. Huh. Greetings, Kevin. Can you play Deathspell Omega chords? Well, I mean, not without learning it. That name sounds familiar. I don't know what that is, but that sounds familiar. Is it a band or a song? I feel like it's a song, but I don't know why. I don't know why that sounds familiar to me. Oh, extreme black metal. Interesting. Okay. I listen to about this much black metal. It's kind of a, I guess I'd say a seasonal thing for me. Yeah, I like black metal when it's mixed with things more. Like I like Black and Death, generally speaking, more than I like just straight black metal. Paracletus Landmark. Interesting. Well, I assume you talking about them as a recommendation, so next time I am in the mood for some black metal, I'll look them up. Gotcha. So good technique? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to break these out into even more tracks. At least, how many? Is that the only place I did that? Yeah. Probably this section and then this section are gonna need to be each their own track because the signal, actually, you can see it is quite a bit louder for whatever reason on this part. So they were recorded on different days, of course. So undoubtedly something changed in my setup there. But that's not going to work, unfortunately, to keep the settings the same there, because that volume level sounds pretty good for this first one. But this one's a bit too hot. Anyway, but I mean, I guess, yeah, doesn't really matter. Just going to let this play. No, this. Yes, be careful, they'll challenge faith. Brilliant musicians. Have you pitched your material to Nuclear Blast Records yet? That would be awesome. No, I have not. Well, awesome in some sense. I don't know. I mean, labels definitely have the marketing dollars and the marketing know-how, but then you've got a label contract, so I don't know. Deal with the devil, kind of, but pros and cons there. Although I don't know that I've ever heard anybody, like any artists, talk poorly about Nuclear Blast, so they must treat their artists pretty well. Just send them a recording. Oh, maybe. At the moment, I don't really have anything that is ready that would, be a good candidate for that, but I'll have to file that one away. I guess we could listen to this part of the song. kind of been avoiding this, mostly because, like with the drums specifically, I know there's changes that I want to make here, and I haven't been doing it, but looking for a session guest on your material. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have anything ready to go. I have a lot of, for my project Savage Logic, I've got a lot of ideas, but not really anything that's nothing that's concrete, nothing that is really that much in progress. But that would definitely be the project that I would want to reach out to other collaborators, because some of the ideas that I have would just like basically impossible for me to do it all. Mainly improv and absorb everything I play along to creating a style. Waiting for a chance to make some records with a like-minded friend. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really use social media. I should probably make some social media that I actually am going to follow or like actually engage with. But I don't really have one, so I mean, there are social media pages for me. If you find, you could send Savage Logic a message on Facebook. Yeah, and who knows? You know, shredding time, indeed, shredding time. That solo was kind of a pain to learn, but it was a good one. So for those of you, if this is the first time you've seen one of these streams, I did not write this song. My friend Levi Maynard did. And so I'm covering it. The acronym that I have in the title, MFBS, is my friend's band song. So this is the second one of these that I've done. And so he's a monster player. So yeah, it was definitely a challenge learning his parts, but yeah, it was really cool. So if you want to listen to the original version of the song, he's got Bandcamp under his own name, Levi Maynard. Anyway, yes, I played all the instruments on this cover, including the ones that I'm not good at, like drums. but I got it done. So yeah, I don't know. It's I love playing music, and so it's an opportunity to play music, and I like even playing the drums. I love playing the drums, though I'm not very good. But it's an excuse for me to do that, and also an excuse for me to practice and get better. So yeah, so that's cool. Anyway, but the original version also rips, so yeah, should go check out his page. He also has a Facebook, and he actually, if you scroll up to the top of this comment thread, you can find his name, and that's if you go to his channel, he's got videos of him playing and stuff. So, yep. Okay, well, yeah, I don't think continuing to listen to this is going to actually make this progress much further tonight, because I don't want to get too deep into something. I've already been going an hour and 46 minutes. Yeah, so I'm gonna bring this to an end here. The one thing I will say is that I think so. Especially when it comes to lead guitar, I definitely like a very mid-range focused kind of sound most of the time. Although I mean, there's plenty of examples contrary to that I could think of, but in other people's music. But when I if I am mixing my own material, that's what I like, is a more mid-focus, even if the rhythm tracks are brighter. And so because the rhythm tracks are brighter, then I feel like there's a little more space for that. So you can have, you don't want your rhythm track and your lead track to be like trying to eat up the same frequency space, because then you are going to have trouble hearing the leads and all that. So we'll see if I end up brightening up the leads, because I kind of don't want to, and I feel like for the most part. Well, actually, those are maybe a bit loud, but like some of these earlier ones when I was playing with the. Yeah, like even with no EQ on that, I don't feel like that really has any trouble cutting through the mix. So as with all the other tracks, like I'll put an EQ on there just to get rid of the like the sub frequencies that wouldn't be used anyway. But depending on how I organize this, I might actually just make a lead bus track, so I don't have to have 10 million instances of the same EQ. That's the only thing it's doing is cutting those sub frequencies, and I can run them all to the same bus and do it there. But anyway, yeah. So I may not even need to do a whole lot in the way of EQ to those lead tracks, although there is a lot going on in this song, because you've got like in this section you've got really busy drums, and then you've got a different melody on either. Well, you've got like a really busy guitar part, really busy guitar part in the right speaker, and kind of a melodic thing in the left speaker, and then I guess there's no. Okay, yeah, but anyway, so yeah, busy drums, and then these two melodies, and like here you got this left and right harmony thing. And I mean, well, the drums are really, I guess, just busy everywhere. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting challenge to make sure everything like sort of fits. So anyway, yeah, that is going to be it for tonight. So okay, cool. St. Dean on Facebook. Don't mind the shirt off. It's hot in here. Cool. Thanks, man. How do I pan the tracks? Well, so that you can see it in the channel strip over here. In like, you mean how do I do it? As in like what's my preference, or how do I do it? As in like how physically how do I manipulate it? Or well, not physically, but in the software. If you're asking about the latter, it's just this indicator. You can just drag this with the mouse. But as far as how I do it conceptually, I'm pretty much just copying the original recording like one to one. And with the previous cover that I did, I also tried to do a very faithful cover. When I so for my project Savage Logic, I did a cover of a Blue Oyster Cult song called Soul Survivor, and since that was like a not that this is not an artistic endeavor, but this is like the point of me doing these songs is because I think my friend's music is really cool, and I want to show that off. And there's a couple other of these that I want to do as well with some other bands I'm friends with, and I think it's cool to just shine a spotlight on some people. And so for that reason, I wanted to keep it very true to form. But like for the Savage Logic cover of that Blue Oyster Cult song, I took it in a very different direction, because I wanted to make it worthwhile listening to my version of it, because otherwise, like, what's the point in recording a cover? Because who's ever going to listen to your song over the original? Yeah, so I made that pretty different. Missed some comments. Okay, here everything's good. Drumming is an endeavor. Yeah. Oh, drumming is an endeavor. I'm more interested in. Gotcha. Yeah. Drums and guitar are fantastic instruments. I love them both. Nicholas Barker is a great drumming influence as well. Yeah, Gene Hoglan, he is a beast. I do not know Nicholas Barker, so I have to look him up. Where I place them. Hopefully I answered that question about the panning. Soul Survivor is your favorite Blue Oyster Cult song? Oh, nice. Well, here, let me... hold on a second. I'll find the music video that I... wait, what is this? I'll find the music video that I put out for that song. And I can link that in the link to that in the chat. Maybe. Hopefully I didn't just drop the stream. I'm not sure what happened, but sorry if I messed that up. Anyway, what? Yeah, that isn't what I wanted. Okay, right. Here we go. I wonder, I don't even know if you can paste links in the chat. I think maybe YouTube, nope. Didn't get blocked anyway. Yeah, so there is my cover of Soul Survivor by Blue Oyster Cult. So anyway, yeah, that is all. So I stream every Monday. So if you want to come hang out, I don't know what time it is, but it's always Monday evening at some point. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and thanks for joining me.